reports. Going to move on to the press review for you now. Dipti's joining us here on set. She's starting, well, with two men really dominating the front pages today. As we said at the top of the bulletin, it's Volodymyr Zelensky and Joe Biden meeting in Washington, Dipti.
That's right. The Ukrainian leader really sprung a surprise visit to the U.S., one that was very much shrouded in mystery and secrecy, which you can understand. Zelensky, of course, meeting with Joe Biden in Washington yesterday. He also addressed Congress in person, where he thanked lawmakers, among other things, for the tens of billions of dollars in military and economic assistance that's been pledged for Ukraine. USA Today here quoting Joe Biden, who told Zelensky that Ukraine will not stand alone in its fight against Russia. A similar picture of the two men on the front of the Washington Post today, which says that meeting was a show of strength and shared objectives and caps a year in which both Biden and Zelensky faced long odds and defied gloomy predictions. In its editorial today, the Post really hails the Ukrainian effort in not capitulating to Russia in the days, weeks, and months that followed the invasion, and really hails that effort as a joint one between Ukraine, but also its Western partners who've been forced to make choices that were not foreordained. The Washington Post says also that Zelensky's visit to the U.S. shows that democracy is winning. For now, at least.
Dominating the world papers as well, isn't it?
Yeah, not a surprise there. Take a look at the front page of the British paper Metro with a rather grandstanding headline today: "To the land of the free, from the home of the brave," with Zelensky and Biden embracing each other. So you do get a sense that the papers really feel this historic element or component in Zelensky's visit. The Swiss daily Le Temps really picking up on that as well. They call Volodymyr Zelensky an ambassador for freedom, noting that his visit has also been compared to that of Winston Churchill in 1941, who also addressed the U.S. Congress back then when Britain was under attack from Nazi Germany.
Let's come to France for this next story. And French train commuters have seen their Christmas plans, really spoiled by striking employees of the rail service here.
Yeah, if you live in France like we do, you do get used to strikes, unfortunately, at the beginning of pretty much every vacation and every long weekend. It's sort of a customary thing in a customary strike. It's so customary that it's as part of the French tradition as foie gras or turkey on the Christmas menu. That's what Le Parisien's editor says today, a little sarcastically. Plans by train unions to go on strike have essentially left only 60% of trains running at one of the busiest periods of the year. People are rushing home to join their families for Christmas, and usually they take things with a grain of salt, but you really do get a sense of the anger and frustration among people today. If you go on social media, you see how furious people are, and this is something that the French papers are picking up on. Le Parisien calls this strike incomprehensible. We cannot understand their motives for striking at this time of the year. It's unacceptable, and they really do express sympathy for the 200,000 odd French people whose plans for Christmas have essentially blown up or gone into disarray. Now, you have to remember as well, this comes after 2 years of pandemic-induced Christmas restrictions. This was meant to be the year of relative freedom. That's what L'Opinion, the French conservative paper, says. Instead, Christmas is ruined thanks to striking train workers who there you see in that cartoon are represented as reindeer, while Santa Claus, a.k.a. Emmanuel Macron, fumes in the background.
Yeah. Due to be another strike over New Year as well. Hopefully they'll resolve that one. Finally from Dipti, this is something that started off as a heated spat in Parliament between the New Zealand Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, and the leader of the right-wing party. But that spat's kind of been now auctioned for charity. What's this about?
Yeah, I deliberately made it mysterious.
I'm intrigued. Yeah.
Earlier this month, Jacinda Ardern was caught by a Parliament hot mic calling David Seymour, who's the leader of the ACT, right-wing ACT party. She called him, I quote, an arrogant prick after a combative question.
Glad you said I quote. Carry on. Yeah.
By Seymour in Parliament. And there's been a whole discussion about why that word is not actually offensive. But anyway, that's for another day. She's since apologized for her comments. But since it was picked up by Parliament TV, it's now in the official Hansard, that's a Parliament transcripts.
Right.
So in a measure of goodwill, the two have put their troubles to bed, and a copy of that transcript that was framed has been
Right.
auctioned off
Okay.
as a piece of New Zealand parliamentary history.
Oh, that's nice.
With the proceeds going to the Prostate Cancer Foundation, so it's for a good cause. That framed transcript was sold on a website called trademe.co.nz, which is sort of like a trading website, on David Seymour's account himself.
Right.
The lucky buyer was a veterinarian who said he was initially planning to buy a yacht. But his partner was not so keen on the idea, so he thought he'll drop a cool 100K on a
Wow.
framed parliamentary quote instead.
That's actually a really nice story. I like that story. And well done particularly to David Seymour for kind of just saying,
Yeah.
let bygones be bygones.
Exactly.
Let's make some money for charity. What's more important at this time of year as
Exactly.
well. Very nice. Thank you very much, Dipsy. Dipsy with the papers on France 24. More news coming up for you in just a few moments, so do stay with us if you possibly can.